Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. As a foreigner living in Slovakia, throughout the years I've noticed some interesting and funny differences in between my home country, Italy, and Slovakia. I honestly don't think most of you will know about some of them. You can let me know in the comments below whether you are surprised, whether you find some of them curious, and of course if you agree with them or not. Without further ado, let's go straight into the video. Actually, remember to subscribe to my channel and leave a like to this video if you like it. And by the way, thank you so much to all of you following me. I recently hit the 1000 follower milestone. I'm very happy about it. I was not expecting it. I'm really thankful to all of you who are following and supporting me. One thing that we do in Italy when a baby is born and that I have never seen here in Slovakia is that we hang on our front door and our main door a bow. It's usually pink in case it's a girl and blue if it's a boy. Normally there is the name of the baby, there can be the weight and the day where the baby is born. It's really nice. It gives some color to the door and also it shows people that a baby, that a newborn is in the house. If you are from Slovakia, did you know about this? Have you ever seen them when you visited Italy? Do you know of anyone that does the same here in Slovakia? I recently heard that even within Italy there are a little bit of differences in how big these bows can be and also where they are hanged usually, but in my area and what I have always seen is that you put it on the door and usually people keep it for a few weeks, 1 month maybe. As far as I've noticed, here in Slovakia there are quite few more babies in percentage of course compared to Italy, so I was thinking you would probably have a lot of bows on doors, but it would still be nice. The funny difference number 2 concerns the dinner on Christmas Eve. It's so strange, I'm already thinking about Christmas, but you know, it's already almost end of October, so it's about time. I know that in Slovakia, it's very common to have carp for dinner on Christmas Eve. I think in Slovak is kapor. It's a big tradition, and in Italy we absolutely don't have this. The thing in common is that we also have fish on Christmas Eve. As per the tradition, on Christmas Eve, as on Good Friday, for example, you eat lean, so no meat but only fish. I believe it's the same in Slovakia, but the kind of fish that we eat and also the, let's say, composition of the dinner is completely different. For example, in Italy, we tend to eat way more seafood. We usually have some appetizers. Then we have like a first dish that in Italy it's pasta or rice. It will be with fish on Christmas Eve. And depending on, you know, how big the family is used to have dinner, you can have also a second dish. It can be a roasted fish, fried fish, fish with veggies, like a lot of different options, but we don't eat carb. While as far as I know, here in Slovakia is very common. And one thing that really shocked me, I didn't see it myself in person, but I saw it on a YouTube video that outside of shopping mall in the week before Christmas, there are like huge bathtubs where there are so many carps. Pour them, like there were so many all stuffed in that bathtub. I say pour because they were still alive, of course, so people can just go and buy them fresh, but it was like so weird to watch because there were just like so many of them in the tub. Some people have told me that there are also some families that actually have the tradition of keeping it for a while alive in their own bathtub at home. Is that true? Is that more a thing of the past, or is it still common nowadays? I would be really curious to know. After talking about holidays, let's talk about something opposite: school. A difference in between Slovakia and Italy is that in Slovakia, kids have spring break. If I'm not wrong, it's around February or March, while in Italy, kids don't have this spring break. However, in Italy, school starts later in the year. We don't start school on September 1st, never, while here in Slovakia and some other countries in Central Europe, I know you start on September 1st. In Italy, people usually start school around the 10th, 13th, 15th of September, and if I'm not wrong, it finishes a bit earlier compared to Slovakia. It usually finishes around the 8th, 10th of June. A funny thing about that, I remember some of my colleagues, when there is this spring break, they get a bit desperate because of course they need to go to work. Maybe both parents are working and they don't know where to leave the kids during the spring break specifically, because I guess that while in summer they also go on holiday, maybe in spring break is just the middle of the year, so they kind of panic because they need to still go to work but the kids are home. Do you like having the spring break? Do you think it's good for children to also rest in that week, or would you prefer maybe school to start a bit later, like around mid of September, but not having that spring break week. I don't know if you will like this next point. Please don't get annoyed by it. I think this is a cultural difference and it's a perception. Maybe you will just find it interesting, or maybe you just knew already. Slovakia is a country of Central Europe. However, by most people in Italy, and I believe most people in the Western Europe, countries such as Slovakia, Czechia, Poland, Hungary, etc., they are perceived as Eastern Europe. Of course, we do not perceive as an insult, but I know that for some reason, most people here don't like thinking that Slovakia is Eastern Europe. They actually say it's Central Europe. And I totally understand from the geographical point of view. Slovakia, yes, is in the region of Central Europe, but where do this idea that people have in Italy, for example, actually comes from? It's very simple. It's a historical thing. It comes from history, from the past. So in the so-called Western Europe, everything that is east from the Iron Curtain is considered to be Eastern Europe. It's not a bad thing, as I said, it's just how people perceive it. One funny thing I noticed concerns actually the approach of Slovak people or other Central European people towards this topic. So while when you talk to people, they say Central Europe, I've noticed that on social media there is a certain trend towards Eastern Europe, and when it comes to following this trend, the people on social media, in that situation, they like showing, for example, the Panelax or similar things and writing that it is Eastern Europe. I believe that is just because this is a trend and it's considered kind of cool in that sense. Let's go back to speaking about some holiday. An interesting thing that differentiates Slovakia and Italy is that in Slovakia, Carnival is not celebrated, while in Italy is quite of a big thing, especially in some cities like Venice. I think most of you are familiar with the Carnival in Venice, but also in other Italian cities, for example, Viareggio. Those are the most famous ones, but it's actually celebrated everywhere, even in smaller towns like mine. I remember when I was a kid, I used to dress up. We also used to have carnival floats. I'll put some pictures here, and it's very funny. There is a lot of parties going on, a lot of food, fried food, and it was just super funny. So it's actually not only for kids, also adult people go around in parades. I thought when I came here that Carnival was just everywhere, but then I saw that on Carnival Day there was nothing around. I maybe only saw just a couple of kids, you know, with some masks on, but nothing more than that, and of course no floats. Point number 6 is not as funny as Carnival. Let's talk about utilities bills. One very good thing here in Slovakia is that utilities are usually included in the price of the rent. I'm talking about rent because I'm renting here in Slovakia, but I believe it works the same if you have your own flat, your own house. So you usually pay the rent, and then other than the price of rent, there is another amount of money that covers the bill, like gas, electricity, etc. And it's a fixed amount. In the contract, it's usually mentioned that at the end of the year, if you paid more or less, you will either receive your money back or pay an additional sum of money to cover the expense of the utilities. But talking from experience, all years I lived in Slovakia, I never had to pay more, or I never received money, with the exception of the very first year I was here that I received back 3 euros something. That was very weird, but very precise, I have to say. In Italy, unfortunately, that's not how it works. People receive bills in their mailbox like every 2 months, 1 month. So you have a nice surprise effect at the end of the month where you will receive your paper and you will read how much you have to pay. Needless to say that usually the amount is more than you were expecting. Especially I remember when it comes about gas in winter, sometimes I would receive such a high bill, like even hundreds of euros, and I'm talking 400, 500 euros when I was studying at university, and that was not nice at all. Imagine receiving this nice bill and thinking, oh, nice, I have to pay more than the rent for the bill. Of course, I'm talking about shared flat with other students, but still, it's not something nice. And I did not have this problem since where I live here, and that's something I really like about Slovakia. Did you have any idea, if you are Slovak, that in Italy it works like that? The cultural difference number 7 concerns St. Nicholas and the Befana. In Slovakia, on December 6, people celebrate St. Nicholas. It's very appreciated by kids. I've seen that they receive candies, chocolate. Also at work, sometimes they organize some events, and it's really nice for kids. In Italy, we don't celebrate St. Nicholas, But not to be too sad, on January 6th, we celebrate the Epiphany, when this old lady, the Befana, comes to visit kids, and they also receive candies, chocolates, if they are lucky, even some toys, and if they have been bad kids during the year, they will receive coal. When I was a kid, I was living in a building where there were quite a few kids, so to entertain us, someone from the building would dress up as a Befana. One day I did something very bad. I realized who that person was, and when she arrived, you could not recognize her because she had a lot of like fake hair, a lot of clothes and makeup and mask even, but I understood who that person was. So one evening when she came, I screamed in front of everybody, kids and parents, "Oh, that person is," and I said the name of the lady. The last difference in between Slovakia and Italy regards houses or flats. There is one element in Slovak houses that we never had in Italy. I never had it in my house. I have never seen it in any other flat or house. So here in Slovakia, people have a separation in between one room and the other. I will put some photos here. So what's the purpose of this separation? Is it useful for some reason? Does it have any practical purpose, or do you use it only because it's normal to use it? If you have ever been to Italy, did you notice any other difference that I have not mentioned in my videos? I would be really curious to know from you in the comments. Or is there something about Slovakia that I have not mentioned that would be interesting to know? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to leave a like to this video and to subscribe to my channel to see additional videos each week. See you next time. Bye!